The Roar in the Darkness, a story of unwavering faith. Introduction. Imagine a world where faith is a weapon, where integrity is a shield, and where a silent prayer can drown out the roar of the mightiest beast. In the opulent yet treacherous heart of ancient Babylon, a man of God faced an impossible choice. His story isn't just about survival. It's about the unstoppable power of conviction in the face of overwhelming opposition. This is the tale of Daniel, a lesson for every soul who has ever felt surrounded by darkness, wondering if God would truly show up. The setting: a foreign land of challenge. Our story begins far from Daniel's homeland. He was an Israelite, brought to Babylon as a captive after his nation was conquered. Yet even in this foreign land, surrounded by different gods and customs, Daniel chose to live by his principles. He rose to incredible power, becoming one of King Darius's chief administrators, indispensable to the kingdom. Inspiration. Point 1. Living your values, anywhere. Daniel's initial success reminds us that our circumstances don't dictate our character. Even when we're in exile, a challenging workplace, a difficult relationship, or a place where our values aren't shared, we can still shine brightly if we choose to live with integrity. The conspiracy, envy, and the law. Daniel's excellence, however, stirred dangerous envy. Other administrators and satraps, consumed by jealousy, couldn't find a single fault in his work or character. They recognized his unwavering devotion to his God. "We will never find any basis for charges against this man Daniel," they conspired, "unless it has something to do with the law of his God." This chilling realization led them to craft a wicked plan. They convinced King Darius to issue a decree. For 30 days, no one could pray to any god or man except the king himself. The penalty for disobedience: the lion's den. Inspiration. Point 2. Integrity under attack. When you live a life of integrity, you might become a target for those who resent your light. Daniel's enemies couldn't attack his actions, only his devotion. This tells us that sometimes your commitment to God will be precisely what draws opposition. But hold fast. Your integrity is your greatest defense. The choice: prayer over fear. Daniel knew about the decree. He understood the deadly consequences. Yet what did he do? He went home, to his upper room, where the windows opened toward Jerusalem. 3 times a day, just as he had always done, he knelt down and prayed, giving thanks to his God. He didn't hide. He didn't waver. His worship was not a performance. It was a deeply ingrained habit of devotion, more vital than his own life. Inspiration. Point 3. Prioritizing your relationship with God. This is the pivotal moment. Daniel chose unwavering prayer over self-preservation. It teaches us that our relationship with God should be non-negotiable, a constant anchor in a storm-tossed world. When fear tries to silence you, remember Daniel's open window. The condemnation, a king's regret. The conspirators wasted no time reporting Daniel's crime to the king. Darius was distressed. He held Daniel in high regard and knew he had been tricked. He spent the entire day trying to find a way to save Daniel, but the law of the Medes and Persians, once signed, could not be changed. With a heavy heart, the king commanded that Daniel be thrown into the lion's den. His final words to Daniel were filled with a desperate hope. "May your God, whom you serve continually, rescue you." Inspiration. Point 4. Even authority can be helpless. Even those in power can be bound by systems or mistakes. King Darius, despite his authority, couldn't save Daniel from the consequences of an unjust law. This highlights that sometimes human intervention simply isn't enough, preparing the way for divine action. The Den. A night of miracles. Daniel was cast into the den, and a stone was placed over its mouth, sealed by the king's own ring and the rings of his nobles. Darius spent a sleepless night, fasting, unable to enjoy anything. At the first light of dawn, he rushed to the lion's den. With a trembling voice, he cried out, "Daniel, servant of the living God, has your God, whom you serve continually, been able to rescue you from the lions?" Imagine the silence. Then, a voice. "O King, live forever. My God sent his angel, and he shut the mouths of the lions. They have not harmed me, because I was found innocent in his sight, nor have I ever done any wrong before you, O King." Inspirations, point 5. God's miraculous protection. The roaring beasts were silenced. The hunger of predators was turned into peace. Daniel's rescue is a powerful reminder that God can intervene in the most impossible circumstances. He doesn't just protect us from the fire, he can walk with us through it, ensuring not a hair on our heads is singed. What seems like an end often becomes a display of his glory. The aftermath. Justice and exaltation. Overjoyed, King Darius ordered Daniel to be lifted from the den. Not a single scratch was found on him. The king then commanded that Daniel's accusers, along with their wives and children, be thrown into the same den. Before they even reached the bottom, the lions seized them and crushed their bones. Darius then issued a new decree throughout his kingdom, declaring that everyone must fear and revere the God of Daniel, for he is the living God. He rescues and he saves. He performs signs and wonders in the heavens and on the earth. Inspiration. Point 6. Vindication and God's glory. Not only was Daniel saved, but his integrity was completely vindicated, and his God was glorified throughout the vast Persian Empire. When God intervenes, it's not just for your benefit. It's often to show his power to the whole world. Trust him to set things right and use your story to declare his greatness. Conclusion. What lion are you facing? The story of Daniel in the lion's den isn't just an ancient tale. It's a living blueprint for faith today. We may not face literal lions, but we face economic lions, health lions, relationship lions, and the roaring doubts of our own minds. What impossible situation are you staring down today? What fear is trying to silence your prayer, to close your window of devotion? Daniel teaches us that when every escape route is sealed, when the darkness is deepest, that's precisely when God's power is most brilliantly displayed. Do you need a God who can shut the mouths of your lions? Do you need a God who can make a way where there is no way? Then, like Daniel, open your window, offer your prayer, and watch for the intervention of the living God. Relevant scriptures for comments, further reflection. Daniel 6:3-5 for inspiration, point 2. Now Daniel so distinguished himself. The administrators and satraps tried to find grounds for charges, but they were unable to do so. We will never find any basis for charges against this man Daniel unless it has something to do with the law of his God. Daniel 6:10 for inspiration, point 3. Now when Daniel learned that the decree had been published, he went home to his upstairs room where the windows opened toward Jerusalem. 3 times a day he knelt down and prayed, giving thanks to his God, just as he had always done. Daniel 6:16. For inspiration, point 4. Then the king gave the order, and they brought Daniel and threw him into the lion's den. The king said to Daniel, "May your God, whom you serve continually, rescue you." Psalm 34:7. The angel of the Lord encamps around those who fear him, and he delivers them. Connects to God sending his angel in the den. Hebrews 11:33, part of the Hall of Faith where Daniel is referenced, who through faith conquered kingdoms, administered justice, gained what was promised, shut the mouths of lions. Daniel 6:23, for inspiration, point 5. When Daniel was lifted from the den, no wound whatever was found on him, because he had trusted in his God. Daniel 6:26-27, for inspiration, point 6. For he is the living God. He rescues and he saves. He performs signs and wonders in the heavens and on the earth. He has rescued Daniel from the power of the lions. Matthew 19:26. With man this is impossible, but with God all things are possible. Connects to God making a way where there seems to be none.